9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Flying guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. I like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
What's going on, Eagles fans? You know what it is. Tone and Markus back on the grind.
Yes, sir.
And Tone, we got a game day. Got a game day on Saturday, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy, man. Y'all tuned to see our Eagles off-season show. Well, this is a pregame show. We're going to be back for our in-season show, man. Y'all got to make sure y'all locked in. The show's only going to get better. Me and Markus are building something fantastic here. You guys are constantly showing out, constantly showing love. So we appreciate all the support you guys have been providing to us. I'm grateful to be here. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to both channels. We are live on 2 channels. I repeat, make sure you guys go subscribe. Go check out my man, Coach Markus at Pro Fan Talk. I repeat, Pro Fan Talk is one of the fastest growing channels out there, giving you your Philadelphia Eagles and NFL coverage. And on top of that, make sure you guys go check out Pro Fan Hoops. He's giving you guys your full-fledged WNBA coverage with a little bit of an Indiana Fever spin. So make sure you guys go lock in on that as well. Markus is doing a fantastic job, man. He knows what he's talking about. He's played the game before, drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Undrafted.
Undrafted. Got it from the muscle, got it from the grind. He's played in the NFL, played in the CFL, played in the World League. I mean, this guy has played a lot of football. I believe the all-time leading rusher for Eastern Kentucky.
Yes.
The all-time leading rusher for Eastern Kentucky University. I mean, you guys are in the presence of greatness. So, and last time I checked, it's 100 yards on every football field, right?
Absolutely.
So make sure you guys go lock in with my guy, man. Coach Markus is phenomenal at Pro Fan Talk. I repeat,
6.7 yards a carry. I'm just saying.
Ooh, 6.7. Come on, man.
Who's running
behind Kelsey? He's running behind Lane.
Oh my God.
No, that's phenomenal, man. So, yeah, again, Pro Fan Talk is the vibe. Make sure you guys go lock in. And, of course, you guys go check me out at Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got churches to the game. I'm always grateful for newcomers. It's a family over there. We're building a healthy ecosystem of sports talk. We're not trying to get you angry over there. We're not trying to rage bait you. We're trying to just have some good football talk. And I speak with passion. I speak with fervor. I speak with energy, you guys. And we're going to have some fun, man. So, let's get into the shenanigans. We got a game, Markus. So, Eagles, Browns, man. First and foremost, before we get to the game, were you keen to the what I would call overreaction from the joint practices?
Yeah, always. It happens all the time. Happens every year.
But it felt different yesterday. It felt a little different. It felt like, let me put it this way. It just seemed like, first of all, it wasn't anybody's day for the Eagles, right? It wasn't like it was one player, one group. It wasn't anybody's day. Right. Jordan Mailata was getting worked. You know, the entire offensive line was getting worked.
Miles Garrett was in his bag. Yes,
right. Miles Garrett, probably the best edge rusher in football right now.
Future Hall of Famer.
Your future Hall of Famer. You know, if you say TJ Watt, if you say TJ Watt, if you say Michael Parsons, if you say what's my man
Von Miller, you can say throw out a bunch of them. He's in that elite class.
Yeah, take your pick, right? But Miles Garrett wrecked it, right? And it be like that sometimes. But it just, to me, I just saw this weird overreaction to the quarterback, this weird overreaction to the joint practices in general.
I mean, you know why? Let's keep it a being, because whether people want to admit it or not, everything right now, this specific time, is overhyped because of Shedeur. I went to Eagles practice on Wednesday with the specific purpose I want to see Shedeur for myself, and then he ain't even practiced.
Yeah, they say he had a oblique, right?
Yeah, he got some type of oblique injury early in practice, maybe like in warm up or something like that. But so I was like, well, Murphy and his laws. But like the amount of people that were at practice on Wednesday, and then I saw Barrett up there. I was standing with Barrett talking with him. He said, "Why didn't you come on Thursday?" Because it was more people on Thursday. So it was one of them situations where just Shedeur being in the building just amps everything up. It's the same way when the Eagles went to Miami last year, because you had, Jalen brings that type of hype with him. And then on top of that, if you remember last year, I think it was it last year or 2 years ago, where it was Slay and Tyreek Hill going at it.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but you're just gonna have that type of hype when you have certain players. And this year, Shedeur Sanders, with everything that he's gone through, he's the story in the NFL right now. If you like him or if you don't like him, his story has become polarizing. There's just as many people for him as it is against him. Then you had that stuff with Tony Grossi. I did a video about that where, he said something to Tony Grossi. Tony Grossi is the Cleveland's beat writer. Not a beat writer, but he's on the radio now. He's been in Cleveland forever.
Right.
And he's got a reputation up there, but he had a very negative slant on Shedeur.
Right.
Caught up in the locker room, like, when you gonna say something good about me?
Yeah, and it's funny, right? I saw people even try to give Shedeur hell for that, right?
Just the opposite. The opposite. People were like, good for him, because it wasn't confrontational.
That was how that was my energy from it, right? It didn't feel ill-willed, or it didn't feel like a negative interaction. It felt more tongue-in-cheek. It felt more, hey, I understand you got a job to do, but hey, man, show me a little love, man.
I
think, you know what it is? I think from our culture, we understand that energy.
Yeah.
We understand that energy. Some people from other cultures, when you approach them like that, they don't understand. They think it's always confrontational.
Right.
But the vibe I got from Shedeur was, I understand you got a job to do, but hey, come here a little slack, man. Listen. That
was an old school altercation. I did a video about that. Like, I appreciated both sides of it, because Grossi didn't run away from it, and Shedeur said what he had to say. He kept the levity with it, but I still think he got his point across. And my perspective on it was, I was like, that's a good old-fashioned, old-school interaction with the press. Because, back when I played, whoever wrote anything about you had to come see you in the locker room. They had to come see you, because there was no Zoom calls. There was no social media. They had to see you face to face and put a microphone in front of your face.
Yes.
So if you did write something bad, you had to stand on it, and you had to put your name on it.
And to your point, I think we're in a culture now where you have people who criticize that interaction. They're the people who are too comfortable saying stuff to people without facing the consequences.
Absolutely.
Because from my perspective I think Stephen A. even speaks about this, right? Stephen A. even says, listen, whatever I say, I go to the games. You go and see me.
Right.
And I'm prepared to have any conversation you want to have. And I respect people that speak in front of these microphones and are prepared to have any conversation that needs to be had. Because again, just because we speak in front of these microphones, that doesn't mean that we're above reproach. That doesn't mean that a player doesn't have the right to have a conversation when you say, hey, I heard what you said, and I think it was a little unfair. Here's some perspective. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, we're in the people business. These athletes, they're in the people business. They're in entertainment. The reporters, journalists, us as content creators, people on the radio, we're in the people business. And everything we say gets magnified times 10 because we got cameras, we got microphones, people listen to us, people take what we say as law sometimes, especially if they locked in with us like that. We have a responsibility to share our perspective, but also share our perspective with truth as we see it. And I didn't have any problem with Shedeur approaching. You said Tom Grossi, right?
Yeah, Tony Grossi.
Tony Grossi, excuse me, sir. Tony Grossi. I had no problem with that. And it's so funny. The Shador, it's so funny. Shador and Jalen Hurts, they're two different sides of the same coin. You know, Shador, he's shown he's more like he's prime son. He's going to approach you. He's a little bit more provocative, right? Jalen Hurts, whatever you say about him, he ain't gonna say a word. And there's some people that prefer that style, right? I don't think there's any wrong or right way to do it as long as you keep everything respectful, right? Like Jalen Hurts, him and Shador were talking at the practice. Now we don't know the intricacies of the conversation, but I think if anything, Jalen Hurts can relate to being polarizing, right? And can just relate to being a guy that's been doubted and being slept on and being expected to fail, right? I think they relate in that regard. And as Shador Sanders, spoke to his detractors, right? He goes towards the fire. Jalen Hurts, he stays on the outskirts and focuses on doing his job, which again, there's no right or wrong way to do it, in my opinion. So when I think about Jalen Hurts in this respect, I think about how he's been treated the past 24 to 48 hours. Now, all of a sudden, should we be concerned about Jalen Hurts because he's not having the best training camp, right?
No,
I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean no harm, because there are some people up at these. Let's just call it what it is. WRP is leading the charge on this, right? And there's some people at WRP that I actually have real respect for. Rob Ellis, love him to death. That's my guy. I ain't got nothing negative ever to say about Rob Ellis. That's my brother in Christ. I love Rob Ellis. You know what I'm saying? But I look at some of these other guys on WRP, and I'm like, we wouldn't even listen to you if you weren't given credibility from guys like Hugh Douglas or Ike Reese or John Ritchie. Those are guys I respect. But it's some guys on these stations, and I'm thinking to myself, what angle what do you gain from being a detractor from the first franchise quarterback in Eagles history to deliver the Super Bowl, to be a Super Bowl MVP? He's an all-pro. He's a Pro Bowler. He's proven that he can win even with having the money. He's validated everything, every question people have had about him, but he doesn't throw for the yards. And it just seems like every chance they get, they find a way to say why he shouldn't be where he is, or he isn't who we think he is. They're constantly trying to humble the fan base. The fan base is all in on Jalen Hurts, but for some reason, they're constantly trying to remind the fan base, hey, he ain't like that, though. And I think that's weird to me.
At this point, I'm convinced, and this is my perspective, in my opinion, most of these guys are trying to get into the algorithm. That's it. Because, and this is when I got to look at the body of work. I got to look at their, I guess, sports IQ, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. When you're talking to somebody that knows the game, knows the football, and not for nothing, knows the city, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they know what they're talking about. So having said that, I know somebody's got to be on the negative side of Jalen Hurts because it generates attention. Just like anything, all you got to do is say something bad about Jalen Hurts or make a list and don't put him on there. You're getting all the traffic because you're crazy. How can you put him here and you got this person there? It creates the conversation. And I am convinced that a lot of these guys take their position specifically for that. They want to generate the interest. They want to generate the conflict. They want to generate the conversation. And under that umbrella, generate the clicks because that's where it is right now. So I think a lot of them don't necessarily believe what they're saying. They're just doing it to get the attention because it is going to get the attention. Because I put out videos where, try this one time, put out a video and say something wrong on purpose and watch how many people come to let you know you were wrong.
Oh, no, for sure.
You know what I mean? So it's everybody wants to either I told you so or you're wrong.
Disagree with you. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's going to generate the most attention. If you say everything is good, if you keep it a bean like we talk about, there's no conflict in it. So when you're talking about these guys on 97.5 and WIP and all of that type of stuff, they have to generate the interest because now we talked about this before. Everybody's going to the YouTube and the online landscape.
They're coming to us. They're coming to us. Let's call it what it is, Marcus. They're coming to us because they realize that hold on, wait, time's out. Like y'all not keeping it real. And again, I want to make this very clear, right? I'm not talking about the Ike Reeses of the world. I'm not talking about the John Richies. I'm not talking about the Hugh Douglas, right? I'm not talking about the Bill Colarulos, right? Because I think I'm not talking about the Kevin Kincaids. I think 97.5 has been keeping it P. I think they've been holding it down, right? I think they've been producing content that's actually been keeping the fan base excited. For some reason, there's certain guys on WIP that's sowing seeds of concern into the fan base. And I guess my mindset is this how Super Bowl MVPs, is this how Super Bowl champions are treated right off of the win? Is this really what happens? Because
that's the transition. That is the transition with media now. Thank you, Philly 500. We ain't forget about you.
Like Nick Foles get it seems to me Nick Foles get more love than Jalen Hurts sometimes, yo. Yeah. And again, Nick Foles got it done first, but Nick Foles was the backup, right? There's a different level of pressure getting it done. If Nick Foles would have lost that game, people would have said, "Hey, what'd you expect?" Right?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is the franchise, and I think this is why it kind of sticks with me a little bit, because Jalen Hurts is somebody they drafted, they developed, they built around, they invested in and paid. And with all that investment, he returns you and brings home a Super Bowl championship, a Super Bowl MVP, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 2 NFC championship wins, an All-Pro, Pro Bowl. I mean, okay, maybe he doesn't play the position the way you want the position to be played, but we are in the results business, no matter what business you in, no matter what industry.
That's the problem.
What was the result, though? What was the result?
That's the problem. Everybody wants the result when it's their guy. When it's not their guy, they want the process. Because let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it 100. If Jalen Hurts was 6'3", and threw the ball for 4,500 yards, we would not be having this conversation.
I'll take it a step further. If he was drafted in the first round,
if he was 6'3" and threw for 4,500 yards, and we lost the Super Bowl, we still wouldn't be having this conversation. Everybody's looking for that guy. Why do you think they still bring up Justin Herbert in these conversations?
The eye test. The eye test tells me he loses.
Absolutely. Why do you think? And for me, this is the easiest and most obvious example of the bias. I call it the checkbox bias. Mm-hmm. You got somebody that checks all of the boxes of what their idea of, or what the masses, what their idea of a quarterback is. The stereotypical quarterback is Josh Allen, 6'4", 6'5", mm-hmm. can throw the ball a country mile, can run. But when you look at last year in the playoffs, when Josh Allen won that game the same exact way Jalen Hurts didn't mm-hmm. throw for 200 yards, rushed for a couple touchdowns, he won the game the same way. He gets the accolades like he's a playmaker. He finds a way to win the game. He did it the same exact way.
Speaking of Mahomes, when Mahomes and them beat the Houston Texans, Mahomes didn't have gaudy passing numbers in that game, or they ran the ball a lot. But Marcus, I gotta ask you this, right? I've always believed relatability sells. Relatability, authenticity sells.
Not anymore.
Anybody on this earth has been doubted before, has been looked down on, has been expected to fail, has been set up to fail, right? Jalen Hurts is arguably the most relatable quarterback in Eagles history. The most relatable. He was at the highest of high. Then he was knocked off his perch. And people thought he would never regain relevance again. When he lost that when he got benched in that national championship game,
they still bring that up.
That's something that breaks a player. That's something that breaks your will, breaks your spirit. That's something that alters the course of your future, your career.
Absolutely.
You know what's funny? He should have never been able to bounce back from that.
You know what's funny with that point specifically? Because everybody brings that up about Jalen Hurts. But at the same time, they never talk about Tua like that. They talk about Tua and what's going on in Miami, the concussions, all of that type of stuff. But do they ever bring up about Tua coming back and winning that game? No. You know why? Because Miami is looking trash right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they on the struggle bus with Tua. We're on the opposite end of that spectrum. So when they talk about Jalen, it's he won, but you had a great offense, but you got the best offensive line, but Saquon Barkley, and they always want to throw that but because why? They're moving the goalposts. And you know, and that's why I took up that moniker earlier this year. I can't really hear what everybody else is saying because the sound of me polishing my championship ring is getting too loud. And at this point, I'm like, everybody, go ahead and have your opinion because my opinion is not going to change your mind. But when we line up on the field, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. So we got the ultimate prize. We beat the best of the best to get it, even though we beat them last time, but we didn't come out with the dub.
And that's another thing too. It wasn't nothing in my opinion, it was nothing fluky about that run.
Nothing.
It was nothing fluky about that run. Like, I mean, they beat some teams to get there.
And they beat them ugly. They beat them when Jalen didn't have great games. But you know what Jalen did do? Jalen was phenomenal in the playoffs. Jalen didn't turn the ball over in the playoffs.
At all. Well, I mean, you know, that one interception in the Super Bowl, but that was like a punt. That was like a glorified punt.
He threw the one interception in the Super Bowl, but
in my opinion, that's like a glorified punt. Didn't he
shortchange the? Wasn't somebody in his face when he threw the ball?
Pressure got through the O-line like almost immediately.
Yeah,
and he threw off the back foot. You know,
but they got one, and we got it back.
Yeah, one turnover through the whole playoff run. One turnover, and I mean, he had other games where the turnover probably was more so expected, like that Rams game. He didn't turn the ball over one time.
Exactly,
not one time.
But how many? But he didn't turn the ball over one time. But how many times did he get sacked that game?
Like 7, like 6, something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So everybody's going to have their reasons why he shouldn't be or why he's not. And again, I'm gonna bring that stat up again about all those passing yards that were sitting at home on the couch.
Yeah,
because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I think I guess I expect it from the national side. I expect that. I expect all the rage bait, from the national side. I guess I have higher expectations for our homegrown platforms. I have high expectations because like I just Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. Let me think more about that. But the bottom line is I just expect a little bit more from our homegrown platforms. A guy who is, again, they drafted him, they developed him, they built around him. He showed you at the very worst. You know, I wrote something on Twitter recently, right? Because I feel like people forget the Jalen Hurts story, and sometimes people just talk like he just inherited this super team. He just walked into this. He just walked into these.
They don't forget about it.
Of gold, and like
they don't. They don't forget about it because they're so quick to remind you that he got benched. They didn't forget about it. They just don't want to talk about it.
No, real quick though, just picking up from the NFL angle, right? Can you bring something on screen for me? I have it right here waiting on you. Can you just bring something on screen for me? All right. Let me try to zoom in on this here. All right.
Hold on.
Give me a second, y'all. Oh, it's not working. Anyway, let me just read this.
Hold on. Thank you, Trenton, for the $5 super chat.
For sure. Shout out to Trenton, man. He says anyone who discredits Hurts is not worth listening to. Jalen is the epitome. Jalen is the epitome of what it means to be a professional on and off the field. He's QB1. Absolutely. Trenton.
And they still find something wrong with it.
Right. And let me read this to you guys. I wrote this because I needed it to be known. Or I needed to at least remind people of how this story really started. Do you remember Jalen Hurts was drafted in 2020? In 2020, the Philadelphia Eagles went 4-11-1. Carson Wentz was the starter. Jalen Hurts was quarterback 2. In 2021, the Philadelphia Eagles had the 10th ranked defense in total yards per game allowed and the 19th ranked defense in points per game allowed. That basically means, okay, yeah, they were able to keep some yards off the board, but they couldn't keep the points off.
Right.
So The 2021 Eagles were regularly playing catch up, and the offense was put in situations because that defense was not good in 2021. Let's call it what it is. That 2021 defense was not good. So they were ranked 19th on defense and points per game allowed. Not a good defense. Jalen Hurts was throwing to Jalen Reagor, Quez Watkins, Greg Ward Jr., J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and a rookie Devontae Smith at wide receiver. In addition, in 2021, his starting left guard and right guard went down with season-ending injuries by week 3. People forget Isaac Seumalo went down in week 3. He was done with a Liz Frank injury.
Yep.
In week 2, Brandon Brooks went down. He ended up retiring after that injury. It was his last hurrah. So Brandon Brooks didn't make it past week 2. Isaac Seumalo didn't make it past week 3. Your interior is completely compromised. Now you got a rookie Landon Dickerson in there, and you got a backup at Nate Herbig who's going back and forth between left guard and right guard.
I forgot about Herbig.
Yeah. In his first year starting, 2021, that is, Hurts led the Eagles to a 9-8 record, made the playoffs, and lost to a Tom Brady who led the league in completions, attempts, yards, and touchdown passes. Tom Brady was on a heater that year.
Yeah.
The Bucs defense was also ranked 7th in points per game allowed and 15th in yards per game allowed.
That was the famous he can't read defenses game.
Exactly. The Bucs, they were giving up the yards, but their red zone defense, their defense as keep a point to the board, they were tight. So the that Eagles team ran into a buzzsaw in 2021. Let's call it what it is. And so I say here, at Jalen Hurts' absolute worst, without the so-called super team or the so-called elite defense, he's making the playoffs. Can your quarterback say the same?
No. And that to me, I don't care how you get there. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You just I don't care if you run, walk, or crawl to the playoffs. Once you get to the playoffs, everybody's back at the same point. Mm-hmm. Even them teams that get the first week bye, because there's some pluses and minuses in having a bye. Yeah, you can get healthy, but yes, you can get out of rhythm. It's happened before. You can get rusty. That's just an extra time for somebody to get in trouble or whatever the situation is. There's pluses and minuses in every situation. So when you get to the playoffs, everybody's starting at the starting line again, and everybody's got a legitimate shot. What you do from then on is the only thing everybody's going to remember. Because guess what? Jalen Hurts was the MVP of the Super Bowl. I don't give a damn about what he did against Carolina and only throwing for 106 yards or whatever it was when AJ Brown made his comments. That's irrelevant now. So don't bring it up no more, because it doesn't matter. When the time came and you need your quarterback to perform, mm-hmm. we outplayed everybody. Matt Stafford, we outplayed Mahomes, we outplayed everybody. So there are no more excuses. There are no more lists. The only list that matters is which quarterbacks in the last 10 years have been and or won a Super Bowl. That's the only list that matters. Based on what everybody else saying, because if it's about winning, they continue to move the goalposts to meet their argument. So remember, every time his name is going to be Jalen Butt Hurts, because there's always a but in between something that he's did or accomplished, because they don't want to give him the credit. So, you're not going to change their mind. But back to your original point about like what they're doing on the radio and stuff, that is the type of stuff that breeds the conversation and the conflict. Everybody wants to see the train wreck. Mm-hmm. Everybody. That's why they tune in Mad Dog and Stephen A and all of that type of stuff. Stephen A don't watch everything in Philadelphia.
Even Stephen A giving Hurts his flowers now. Stephen A's like, hey, listen, we got all these guys in this league that's talented. All right, yeah, I get it, but we got to keep it real. This kid in Philadelphia has overcame like 4 or 5 different coordinators. No matter what changes have happened around him, he's winning football games. You're in the playoffs. He's a Super Bowl champion. At some point, we got to stop denying what's happening in front of us. Even Stephen A is saying this kid is underrated.
Yeah, but usually think about it like this. And I'm looking at it like this. It's like a recipe. Right?
Somebody got to play the other side. So
go back and look at every show. Yeah. It's usually a 1-3 mix. depending on how many people on the show. If it's 3 people on the show, it's a 1-2 mix. It's usually one person that says, Jalen Hurts, I don't care. He's that good, and he should be in the top 5. There's always one person, and the other 2 are like, yeah, but he's not better than this person. There's always one person for and 2 or 3 against. Yeah. But you gotta have both. They do the same thing on Good Morning Football, because I watch Good Morning Football. It's usually a 1-3 mix. Jamie Erdahl, she's the host, so you got to put her to the side. Right. Then it's the one guy, Manti Te'o's already got. He always has something better. Manti Te'o flip-flops. Yeah, Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl. He is because this is what they do. Here's the buzzwords you hear now. He's a great leader. He's the perfect quarterback for that team.
Yeah. I heard that a lot. I heard that a lot.
Then they hit you with this. But if I'm drafting for a quarterback today, Jalen Hurts is not my first pick. They always hit you with that. And then it goes back to they're looking for the check boxes.
Yeah. Or if I'm building a franchise, Jalen Hurts is not the guy I'm starting with.
Exactly.
Right? But I thought the goal was to build around somebody who can win. You see, Jalen Hurts is proof of concept.
Correct.
Jalen Hurts is proof of concept. He showed you I can win a Super Bowl with him. And still, he sells tickets. See, Jalen Hurts isn't just some guy who just is filling in a spot. Jalen Hurts sells tickets. Jalen Hurts is box office. Jalen Hurts sells on and off the football field. Jalen Hurts has had one of the top 5 selling jerseys in the NFL since he's been a starter. Jalen Hurts is somebody that is marketable. He's charismatic. Comes from a football family. Jalen Hurts is somebody that isn't just you can't market, right? He is a franchise quarterback. Everything about his essence is franchise quarterback.
School of Skip.
You know what I'm saying? So again, if I'm building a team, because again, it's a team sport. If I'm building a team, I'm drafting a quarterback that I know I can win with. I may not even go quarterback with my first pick. You want to know why? Because if they so down on Jalen Hurts, I know he's gonna be there. I may go edge rusher first, may go offensive lineman first, and I'm gonna get Jalen Hurts right there. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you got all these guys who are super talented, but they're not proof of concept. They haven't proven that they can win with the way they're doing things.
Correct.
But Jalen Hurts has proven you can win with the way he plays the game.
And this proves that even now, with everything that you've seen, people still want the optics. They still want the optics. They still want that 6'4" golden boy quarterback. You can, if you want to say that most teams will shy away from a black quarterback and all of that kind of stuff, that's a fair criticism because that's what the optics say. The optics say, why are you talking about Trevor Lawrence the way you do, and Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl? So why are you talking about Justin Herbert the way you do, and Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl?
I'm glad you brought up Justin Herbert because Justin Herbert is a guy in both of his playoff losses against the Jags and the Texans. The Chargers were favored to win those games.
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand why all of a sudden he didn't have enough pieces to win those games when they were favored. Y'all evaluated those teams prior to those games and said the Chargers should win this game. But when they lose, they didn't have enough. They were exposed. Hold on. I'm like, hold on, wait. The weakest player on those teams when they lost has been the quarterback, not anybody else. Because when they lost to the Jags, that defense shut out that Jags offense. That Chargers defense shut out that Jags offense in the first half. The Chargers had like a 27 point lead going into halftime. They shut them out damn near. So and they forced like 4 or 5 turnovers. In my opinion, defense gave you the oop. Offense, y'all got to dunk it now. Sustain drives, get first downs, keep kicking field goals. Kind of reminds me of what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl. The defense gave you the alley-oop. Offense, just keep scoring, get a lead, keep scoring, keep sustain drives, keep kicking field goals. Justin Herbert couldn't even sustain drives.
Right.
Couldn't even sustain drives. Couldn't even get points on the board. Couldn't get first downs.
And here's the point. Here's the point that people don't.
Come on, man.
People don't realize.
Interceptions.
Think about this: in the Super Bowl that we won, what was the final score of that game?
40-22, I think.
Right. Now, there was a point where even though we were ahead, we gave up that crazy touchdown when we had the backups in at safety.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, just go back, put it in reverse a little bit, and just take 2 of those possessions. What happens on 2 of those possessions if we don't score and we end up with field goals? That's a different looking game.
Exactly.
And then it goes back to the same conversation. Jalen Hurts had every opportunity. He couldn't get there. There's going to be a reason why they had to settle for a field goal. You know what I mean? But he got it done when it had to be done, period. And everybody still wants to come up with an excuse and a but. Well, he would have. And every excuse was taken away because the Chiefs sold the farm on stopping Saquon Barkley. And they did exactly what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Kept him to 50 yards.
And they got what they got.
He didn't break over. And I keep saying this. I remember the conversation we had on this show before the Super Bowl. And I was like, y'all can leave Devontae and AJ on the island if you want to. You're going to gamble and you're going to lose. And that's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. AJ burned him. Devontae burned him at the end. Jihaad Dotson. If Jihaad Dotson gets one more step.
That's a touchdown easily.
Or if that ball is a yard in further down the field, that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
So everything that happens, and this is what irks me all the time. If all of these people on television who claim they are professionals and watch film and all of that type of stuff, even all of those people, what did it always come down to the week before the Super Bowl? The Eagles look great on paper, blah, 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 but I just can't go against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to find a way. And I'm like, Patrick Mahomes don't play guard. He doesn't block. Why can't you figure that out? But everybody, in spite of watching film, watching the tape, everybody knew good and damn well how bad Quinyon was playing at left guard. They saw it, and somehow they just thought Patrick Mahomes was just going to magically block the D tackle, block Jalen Carter, and make things happen.
They thought Mahomes was magically going to put his hand on his shoulder. He would just become something else.
It was my God. But to my point, everybody now, the same people that usually have sound doctrine when it comes to studying film, they on point, they got their notes, they know what they're talking about. Even people like that still would go back to I just can't go against Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, have you watched the defense? Have you watched our defense? Have you seen Jalen Carter? Have you seen Jalen Carter not take a double team this year?
And on top of that, have you guys not been keeping up with the Chiefs struggling to generate explosive plays?
Correct.
So it's again, just to bring it full circle, right? This conversation started with the dichotomy between Shedeur Sanders and Jalen Hurts and how polarizing they are, right? And how, they're guys who are constantly being bet against, and they also have 2 different approaches with how they handle the adversity, how they handle criticism, right? Shedeur walks towards it. Jalen Hurts keeps track of it from a distance. And you can have your preference and flavor all you want, but I can't sit here and criticize either style, because as long as they're keeping it respectful, as long as they're focused on doing the work, I can't criticize those brothers. And I say that to say, with this game today, it's a lot of people that I got my eye on, because there's some polarizing names that are going to be on the field today, right?
Well, before you go there, let me address Alex real quick. Sure. And what I want to cap off that previous conversation, the fact that they were producing a document, I can't even say the word, a damn show about the Chiefs winning 3 in a row before they actually played the game is so far beyond disrespectful. I can't believe it.
You know what? I can't even get mad at, because it's an ESPN produced doc, right?
Yeah.
I can't even get mad at ESPN shooting their shot for the doc. What I can get mad at is Andy Reid and that organization accepting that pressure, accepting that, because that just seems to go against. That just seems like the ultimate bulletin board material. And there's no bulletin board material greater than forecasting your Super Bowl before the season, even forecasting a 3-peat at that before the season even starts, because this thing was in the works.
Exactly.
You know, you got Mahomes at the parade after they won the second one. Hey, listen, man, you know, we're going for that three-peat. Expect that, know that. You know what I'm saying? You got Patrick Mahomes on a GQ interview with his wife saying, I don't lose.
Copywriting the name.
You know what I'm saying?
Didn't he copyright the name?
No, I thought Pat Riley copyrighted
Pat Riley did that.
Three-peat.
Okay,
yeah,
that's right.
Pat Riley owns that. But again, there's no higher level of arrogance. And I haven't watched the doc yet. I'm not gonna watch it in its entirety. I may skip to that last episode.
I'm not gonna watch it.
I want to see. I want to see that last episode. I want to see. There's no greater feeling than seeing somebody believe what they believe the outcome is going to be, but we know what it really is.
Man, that's so far beyond disrespectful. It's not even funny.
There's no height of arrogance that I've seen in sports like that. That is the ultimate level of arrogance. But you know, it is what it is, man. I'm looking forward to this game this afternoon. The game starts in about an hour.
Yeah. And if you go down to the stadium, I just got the thing that says parking lots A and G are full.
So you heard that, Philadelphia? Parking lots A and G, man. But
Green Wingman says, would Brady be Brady if he wasn't in the right situation? Probably not.
That's a great question. Will Brady be Brady if Drew Bledsoe doesn't go down?
Exactly. Or if Drew Bledsoe plays one more game, or
let's take it a step further, right? Does Hurts become what he becomes if Carson Wentz doesn't wet the bed? You know what I'm saying? Does Mahomes become Mahomes if he's drafted by the Bears instead of the Chiefs? Right. Because that was the Deshaun Watson, Mitchell Trubisky draft.
Mitchell Trubisky. I just saw him. Who's he playing for now?
I think he's the backup for the Bills still, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
Think about how easy these things can go. How things can just change. Because Mahomes was so wrong coming in. And Andy Reid was able to refine. I always make the Cyclops X-Men reference, the Professor X reference, right? Mahomes, when he came into the league from a talent perspective, was Cyclops without the red ruby quartz, without the red quartz glasses. Just power, just raw energy, raw power, raw talent.
Couldn't focus it.
He had to get with Professor X. He had to get with Andy Reid so he can develop a structure or a system around that talent so he can focus those optical beams, so he can focus that talent and hone it, right? Remember, Mahomes didn't play his rookie year. I think he played the last game or something like that.
Yeah, he didn't get many snaps.
They knew what they had in that kid, and they said, we're not going to throw him out there. We're not going to develop bad habits. We're going to develop him behind the scenes. We're going to groom him. He's going to watch, and then next year, that's going to be the coming out party. Imagine if Mahomes goes to Chicago and they just say, "Hey, go win his football games." I don't think he becomes what he becomes.
Well, he doesn't become what he becomes. What happens if Tyreek Hill isn't there?
It's so many variables. You're right. It's so many variables.
You know
it's so many variables that go into it, man.
It's a domino effect, both sides. So
it is. Because Tyreek, and also being Tyreek Hill wasn't a first round pick. He was like a fifth, fourth, something like that.
Right.
Tyreek Hill fell in the draft because of off the field issues. So, you know, again, man, there's so many new storylines. Like the NFL is quite literally where opportunity and luck collide. And it's up to you to be prepared when those things collide.
Facts.
Simple as that. And today, who's going to take advantage of their opportunity and their luck? Who's going to take advantage in this Eagles and Browns game? I got some people that I'm going to be looking at, but I can start with you, my man. Are there anybody that, for this, we kind of started on a little bit of a tangent in the show to get the people going a little bit. But now let's get into this game. Let's try to talk about some players we're going to watch, who we're looking forward to step up, because this is the second preseason game. And some people have their concerns about various position groups or positions, right? But I want to pick your brain before I give you anybody I'm looking at, right?
Chris, I might check out a little bit of it. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the whole thing, but I'm gonna check out.
I'll check out a little bit. But
definitely
let's go one for one, right? Let's ping pong. Who is one player you're looking at right now? Who's number one on your list, or maybe you don't have them numbered, but who's the first name that comes to mind for you that you're going to be watching in this game?
Number one is Kelee Ringo.
Okay, why?
Kelee Ringo, because I've been a Kelee Ringo fan since last year. And I've been beating the drum like, let this kid get some snaps. He's got the speed. He's got the size. I want to see it. So I know he had a bad first game, and he didn't really have a great week in the joint practices either. Because I know when I saw him, he got beat the same exact way, and I was looking at it in person. So I was like, okay, however, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He ain't going nowhere. So I need a better performance from him today. That simple. Just so you can quell the noise, rightfully so, of your bad performance from game one. So the best way is like a shooter in a slump. The only way you can get out of it is to shoot your way out of it. So he got to play his way out of it, and all he got to do is what he's supposed to do: make tackles. Maybe he'll get a pass breakup or something like that. Maybe he gets lucky and gets a pick. I don't know, but you have to show that you are competent at your position and that you are you're somebody that the offense has to worry about. So you basically just need to play the position the way it's supposed to be played. No mistakes. That's what I need to see from Kelee Ringo.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Ringo is definitely a name that people are keeping an eye on. There are a lot of people who have sold their Kelee Ringo stock. I'll be honest with you. My Kelee Ringo stock is on hold. It's not. I'm not buying any more stock. I'm not quite selling it just yet, but it's on hold because nothing has been decided. Right?
I'm stuck with it. I'm stuck with it.
My Kelee Ringo stock is on hold. But a name I'm going to respond to you with is Jacorian Bennett.
Yes.
Jacorian Bennett is a guy that we're going to be watching with a magnifying glass.
Absolutely.
Because his presence, his arrival to Philadelphia directly is a response to the lack of competition for that CB2 spot.
Agreed.
The coaches, or at least at the very least, Howie Roseman. The coaches, Howie and Vic. Howie's actions and Vic's words indicate that Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson, and if you want to throw Eli Ricks in there, go ahead. None of those three guys have done nearly enough to create distance between themselves and their counterparts.
Right.
And that's where Jacorian Bennett comes in. Jacorian Bennett, if he wins the role, cool. But Jacorian Bennett is supposed to be a monkey wrench. He's supposed to unsettle these guys and push them in the right direction. Now, Jacorian Bennett, he's put up some good tape. He's won some. He's had some great opportunities against some tough matchups, and he's won. He's a young player like Ringo, was drafted in the same draft class. I think they were only drafted a pick apart.
Right.
And which is very interesting to me. Jacorian Bennett was drafted a pick ahead of Ringo. Makes me wonder if the Eagles were looking at Bennett. Makes me wonder. But Jacorian Bennett coming in, when he first got here, he couldn't really practice. And he got here, I think, a few days before the first preseason game, so we knew he wasn't going to play. But now he's a week removed from all of that. And he's been getting some first team reps. He's been getting first and second team reps, right? He's been getting his opportunities. Now Jacorian Bennett is going to play today. And we're going to see him get some reps. Now, granted, he won't be thrown into a gauntlet like a Jamar Chase or a T. Higgins gauntlet, like Adoree Jackson and Kelee Ringo were, right? Like, that's the thing about Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson. They got hit with the frying pan, the kitchen sink, the fridge.
They didn't. I don't look at it that way. Because if you're going to be the starter, you facing that every week.
I agree with that, especially those first 5 or 6 weeks, because they got Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp. You know what? You're right. You know what? I want to retract that statement. They got what they needed to get in that game.
Exactly. And I'm not expecting Kelee Ringo to jump the route and go for a pick six on Joey Burrow. Yeah. I'm not expecting that. What I am expecting, though, is when
clean technique.
Clean technique and a good tackle after the catch.
And that's what Fangio said.
That's it.
Fangio was like, look, I really didn't expect him to disrupt that pass.
That's Jamar Chase.
But I expected him to tackle him, though.
Exactly.
So, and that's what I love about Vic Fangio. He's so transparent.
That could not have been a good conversation in Fangio.
I love his press conferences because I know I'm going to leave with something of substance. Right. So, again, getting back to this competition, Jacorian Bennett, he has as good of an opportunity to win that job as any one of those guys. And quite frankly, the Eagles are slowly backing themselves to a corner here. And one of these guys has to create distance. Somebody has to create distance.
Somebody got to step up and look like they're the starter.
Yeah, somebody has to. And quite frankly, I don't know who that is. But again, I'm looking at Quinyon Bennett as a guy who's going to get his opportunity today.
Absolutely.
Let's see how he looks. And again, I just want to see him have a clean game, right? Be in position.
Even though they were in zero, you still got to make the tackle.
You got to, yeah. Even Fangio said, listen, I normally wouldn't call zero in that situation, but I was calling. He drew a distinction. He said, when you're in season, like the regular season, you're not calling plays to find out what a player can do.
Exactly.
You're calling plays for the betterment of the situation. You're trying to get them off the field. You're calling plays for a different reason. In the preseason, I'm calling plays to put players in certain situations just to see how they respond. Can they adjust? So on and so forth. And yeah, he called a zero blitz right there. He wanted to see how the players respond from a technique perspective, what angles they take, right? And he was very clear. I didn't expect them to stop the conversion or the pass. I wanted to see where the technique was. I wanted to see the angles, and he made it very clear. He said, "I don't know why." It was so funny. Fangio said, "I don't know why he took the angle he took." Fangio was hilarious.
But that's what I'm talking about. When I was at practice on Wednesday, the same exact thing happened. Exactly the same way. He took a bad angle for the tackle, and the dude went right around him, stepped to his right, and he over pursued and went right around him. So I'm like, okay, I'm still gonna ride with you, but you got one more game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
You got one more game to do this, to get this right, and then school's out. It's like you had your opportunity, or he's gonna be a situation where, like we were looking at Avonte Maddox. We know he can play, but you don't know what you're gonna get when you put him in the game. So,
how desperate? Let me ask you this question, because you said Keely Ringo you were looking for. I'm looking at Quinyon Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
Before you get to your next guy that you're watching, I have a question. Do you think the Eagles would venture? And this is something I've been advocating against. I want to make it very clear. I've advocated against what I'm about to say here. But do you think it would show a sign of desperation if they say, DeShields, we need you on the outside?
Desperation is the wrong word.
Okay.
They got to make a move. Because would you say that if they moved Keely Ringo to safety?
Would I call it a sign of desperation?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. A lot of people have been saying, like, to your point about that, a lot of people have been saying, yo, he's a safety. He's more of a safety, right? And
but I'm looking at it strictly from the standpoint of you're taking somebody that's already in a given position and you're moving them.
And they're proven. Yeah, you're basically correct. You're harming two positions to fix one. And,
so is it desperation, or is it doing something that you think works better for your defense? That, to me, that's not desperation. That's moving. That's adjusting your chessboard. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, if they make that move, and let's say Cooper DeJean, it looks horrible. Now, the desperation comes if you move Cooper DeJean, doesn't work out, you move him back, and now DeJean is playing bad, and you still haven't solved the problem that happened. That's desperation.
Yeah, no, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. And again, I want to make it very clear, you guys, that's not something I advocate for.
No.
I'm on record clearly. I don't want DeShields outside. I want him in the slot. I want him mixing up and safety. I want him playing that middle, that center field. I like DeShields in the middle of the field. He's dangerous. He's lethal there.
Yeah. He's proven it. And also let's not forget. Let's not forget, because a lot of times we get in our own heads.
Yeah.
Let us not forget that Vic Fangio is in that locker room and on that practice field every day. We are not. He sees what he needs to see. They watch film every day. We do not. He knows what he needs to know, and he knows who is best where. We do not. Oh, you blanked out, bro.
My bad, sorry. And to your point about that, Fangio also knows what adjustments he can make or needs to make in order to make the defense play at its optimal potential. So, to your point, regardless of what's going down, I trust Vic Fangio to find the an answer to the $1 million question at CB2. Let's transition to your next person, right? So you started with Ringo. I said Quinyon Bennett. Let's go back to you. Who else are you looking at?
Jihaad
Campbell again. Okay.
Yes.
Break it down.
Jihaad Campbell. Just because I want to see him. I want to see him get more snaps. I want to see him get more comfortable. The more snaps and the more comfortable he gets, the more of a terror he's going to be when the regular season starts. This kid is special. Period. Full stop.
Yeah, man.
And we got two young players like that. Jalen Carter and Jihaad Campbell. And you still got Coop and Quinyon in the back, but you're talking about your anchor in the middle. And we got a dime piece right there.
Did you see Jihaad next to Myles Garrett?
Yeah.
They like damn near the same size.
Myles Garrett is physically bigger, but I didn't realize Jihaad, and I saw Jihaad in person.
Yeah.
And I still didn't realize he was like that big.
And also, let's keep in mind, Myles Garrett is in his 30-year-old body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's in his and the reason I specify that is because Lane Johnson says something, and they did like an expose with Train with Lane Johnson, the Eagles did, and he was working out with some MMA fighters. And one of the things he said is that, you know, in my earlier years, in my younger years, I didn't necessarily have the strength that I have now. I didn't have that
that core strength.
That same core strength, that same physique that I have now. He said I'm more stronger now than I were or than I was then. Right. So when I think about that, I think about Jihaad Campbell versus Myles Garrett in terms of just the physique, right? Myles Garrett, that's a grown man body right there.
Yeah.
There's still some baby fat on Jihaad, you know, and it just use it as a metaphor, right? Yeah, there's still some baby fat on it. So he's still got that young boy rookie body.
Yeah.
Once Jihaad starts to mature and develop his NFL routine, right? Because your routine evolves. You played the game. You know your routine evolves as you get to the next level. Once Jihaad gets to that NFL routine, gets to that NFL level, as far as physique and so on and so forth, like when I saw them standing next to each other, I'm like, yo, Jihaad Campbell, that's the blueprint right there. Myles Garrett, that's the blueprint.
Right. You know who was big? Like until I saw him in person. That damn Joey Flacco.
Yeah, I saw you tweet that. You said he's way taller in person.
That joker is huge.
And he like 6'5".
I did not realize it. On top of that, you 6'6" and you got on 1.5-inch cleats. Like you don't see it until you see it.
Yeah.
That joker is huge. But
that's
really it. Maybe I want to see. I do want to see a little bit more of Shipley and Dylan.
Okay,
Dylan has had a good camp.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, he has. He's looking good. I think Dylan. Just speak on him real quick. I think Dylan is going to have a way larger impact on his offense than people probably expect. I've been trying to tell people. You know, some people disagree, but I've been trying to tell people we really don't need Saquon to technically repeat what he did. We really don't. Because it's not gonna happen like that. I would like Dylan to spell Saquon of about 100 reps, 100 snaps. I want if Dylan could take about 80 to 100 snaps off of the docket for Saquon Barkley and be productive, I would take that trade off, especially if it means more longevity for the player, because the Eagles invested in Saquon long term. Now, if I can give you my second person that I'm going to be looking at, another guy we didn't see yet, Andrew Mukuba. I'm throwing Andrew Mukuba in this equation because since he sustained the shoulder injury, he's missed some time, you know, with being out and being limited. So now he's fully back. But in that time, Sidney Brown was able to create distance. And I've heard good things about Sidney Brown in camp. No matter what people want to say or feel about him, I've heard more positive about Sidney Brown in camp than negative. And he's picking up the playbook. Fangio clearly sees the development. You know, he always says he just has to, you know, sand down some corners. You know what I'm saying? But Andrew Mukuba, if you ask him, he believes that he's began to close the distance. As a matter of fact, Andrew Mukuba, they asked him, you know, how he knows that he closed the gap. He says, and I quote, just by practice, how practice has been going. I feel like I'm confident out there, making the right calls, knowing what to do, knowing where I'm supposed to be at, knowing where the other guys are supposed to be at. Just me knowing that, me feeling confident just tells me that I'm doing the right things, that I'm heading the right way. He also said that I'm really looking to prove myself. I'm really looking to prove it to myself, to be honest with you, to show that I belong here, show that I can play at this level with these guys that's playing at a high level, just a way to prove myself, believe in myself. So Mukuba, though missing that time, he believes he's closed that gap. Now it's up to him to show that on the field today, which I'm really, really excited about. And the game starts in about a half an hour, about 24 minutes. So we're going to begin to close the show soon, you guys. But I'm rolling for Mukuba in terms of like he's the second guy I'm looking at. And I want to also put this on wax because I said this after we drafted him. I made the bold prediction that Andrew Mukuba would be the starting safety come week 1. Now, granted, that was barring injury, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit murky now. But again, we'll see how things play out because I think there's still enough time for Mukuba to leap Sidney Brown. We'll see how it goes because Sidney Brown is very much giving him a run for his money. But Mukuba, we'll see what he does today. I'm really excited to see him. Do you have a third guy you want to throw out there?
Smile Monday. Okay. Just because I want to see him play. Most of the things that I want to see is on defense. And special note, I'm going to take particular interest on who is our right and left guards.
Yeah, the Eagles are higher on Brett Toth than I really expected them to be.
Brent Toth has been. This is another thing that
he's been there since 2019, I think 2020, something like that.
He's an 8-year vet, but he's never been a starter. Why? So that's something you got to think about.
Yeah.
But we gonna learn today.
It's a fact. It's a fact. If I had to give you a third person, before we close the show out, because I know you got to go, big dog. My last guy, Darius Cooper. I want to see Darius. I want to see him do it again.
Yeah.
If he does it again or does something close to it, I think Darius Cooper has won himself a roster spot. If he does it again, because last game he had 7 targets, 6 catches, 82 yards, averaged close to 14 yards a catch and 1 touchdown. His longest catch of the day was 20 yards and touchdown. If he does it again, he's making his roster in some shit, way, or form.
I think he's gonna make it regardless.
I'm with you on that, but I think I think it becomes indisputable.
At the very worst, you find a way to get him on the practice squad. Because Wilson's been good. I think Dotson's going to have a good year this year.
Yeah, and I think Elijah Cooks. I don't think the shoulder. He
got hurt.
He didn't practice yesterday.
I think he was going to take Johnny Wilson's spot.
I think so too.
He got hurt, and Johnny Wilson was like, "Hold my beer."
Yeah,
because it's not like Elijah Cooks got hurt. Elijah Cooks got hurt, and Johnny Wilson has been producing.
Yeah, that's the second parter, right?
Yeah. You guys. So that's the nature of the beast.
That's the nature of the beast, y'all. So I'm looking forward to this game, man. I can't wait. I'm excited. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, man. We definitely went a little longer than we expected. This pregame show was a little impromptu, but you guys asked and you received. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to both channels. Again, subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. Coach Markus does amazing work. Subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. And make sure you guys also are subscribed to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or we lose, we just got to charge to the game. Eagles versus Browns in about 20 minutes, you guys. Get your popcorn ready. Get your notebook and your pen and pad out. Take your notes, man. We're going to have some fun. Any final words, Coach?
Let's get this game started, man. We need to see what we need to see.
Hey, on that note, man, play the song.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Nolan and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. That Flashing like a running back, hitting every play. Blind guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. I like an eagle soaring in the sky. Told him Markus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Told him Markus always standing by.